is the H1B layoff grace period 60-day or extended? We were just talking about it's for now it is 60 days. I think we all should work together, request the Congress to extend this from 60 days. I have done these type of things in the past, but then the looking at the petitions is very, very, minimal, because they have tons and tons of petitions. They think that is of more importance, this is of least importance. So I don't know. But then for the attorney, what are the options on the grace period of H1B, which we've been discussing? Again, I think that people have been touching this question, Prashanthi. They're talking more about going into B2 F1 visa. I see a lot of questions on these items here, but then we want to summarize this on the changing to B1, B2, or going back to H1 or F1 visa. I at least see about 10 questions, but we would definitely answer that now. But if it's a similar duplicate question, please read through the comments. I know you guys have been posting through different platforms, so you have not seen this. Maybe you're on YouTube, you're on LinkedIn. For some reason, I'm not getting the Facebook messages, but I'll still, get those questions and get them answered later on. So, can we touch this topic once again about getting into B1, B2, or F1? And then coming
Right,
back to each one, not leaving the country. This is a common standard. I have at least 8 or 9 questions revolving around the same topic.
right. So you have three options that I can think of if you have been laid off. You can either file, what you should do is look for another job. I'm just giving you strategizing, and everybody is different and everybody might have a different opinion about it. Uh, just from a strategy point of view, I think you should look for another job for at least the first month, and then in the last 2 weeks you should then make a decision, if you have not found a job, as to what you want to do. If you have not found a job by that point, then you should decide whether you want to leave the country and then continue searching for a job and then come in when you have a job. That is the least stressful, because you don't have to worry about remaining in status, because when you leave the country, then your status is not an issue. The second option is to file for a change of status, of course. Now, filing for a change of status, you could file for a change of status to a visitor's visa. You can file for a change of status, depending on your situation, to a H4, which would be the most ideal. Or you can file for a change of status to an F1. I don't think any other statuses would really apply to file a change of status. So if you're filing a change of status to a B2, you have to file an I-539 petition, and you have to submit the forms, the fees, the supporting documents to show that you do not intend to immigrate to the US. Now, there's a problem here, because say you have an I-140 approved, you have an intent to immigrate. So there's a question in the I-539 form. So it may not always get approved, especially when you say that, yes, I have filed an immigrant petition. Because there is a conflict with an I-539 and an immigrant petition. So that would affect filing of a B2 as well as filing of an F1 in both instances. But anyway, coming back to this, you're only filing to maintain your status and get some breathing room for the time being. You're not really filing to get an approval, because you really can't wait for the approval. That doesn't make sense. So just filing the petition, whether it gets approved or not, might be one option. And definitely having an I-140 approval should make you think about whether you want to do this or you want to just leave the country. So in addition to your I-539 and your passport and your proof of status, like your H1 approval, your pay stubs, you also have to submit an intent to leave the country. So you have to submit a statement saying, I will leave, I don't intend to immigrate to the US, blah, blah, blah. And you also have to show that you have enough income to support yourself. Since you're working, I'm presuming that you have money in the bank. So you can just submit your W-2 tax returns and your bank statements. So that's the process for filing a B2. The process is similar for an F1. The only difference is, for an F1, you'll have to submit the I-20 as well. and the processing time is sooner for an F1. So that there might be an advantage there, but the disadvantage is that you'd have to start school, you'll have to pay the first semester fee, and you'll have to try to balance out when the school is starting and when your F1 will get approved. So whether the DSO will allow you to start classes while the F1 is still pending. So all that you'll have to talk to the admissions office to see how they deal with that situation. So I think there's no harm in doing research in your during your first 30 days to see what options you have for an F1. Then of course then you might want to take a CPT after that to continue working. Day one CPT is not an issue as long as the university allows you to do day one CPT, or the curriculum requires you to have practical training side by side with your classroom coursework. So that's the F1 advantages. The processing time will be less. Disadvantages that you have to be on an F1. So it's not that good a stopgap measure. B2 is a better stopgap measure. The disadvantage of the B2 is that it won't get approved quickly. You'd have to file again a change of status from a B2 based on the receipt that you have, and they don't always approve that. So you might have to leave the country at some point and come back. So those are your options. H4, there are no issues for filing change of status. That's great. I mean, it just takes time, but you can, file it and at least be in status while your H4 is pending. So those are the few options that we have done, just to reiterate.
Okay.